Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. If it's your first time here, thank you for joining, and I hope that you'll do me the honors and subscribe, hit the like button, and at the end, I know you're going to watch it to the end, just drop a comment. Alright, let me know what you think if you have any questions. So today I want to show you guys how to draw this pergola in AutoCAD Architecture using the AEC features of the software. It's pretty cool. You're not going to want to miss this one. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to apply some of these strategies to your own designs. And yeah, just drop a like if you learned something. I would also like to show you guys how to create a cut list or a material list, or what we would call a build of material for all the components used in this project. And so if that is something you're interested in, then definitely stick around to the end of the video. Bing. Alright guys, so here is what we're going to be doing. I did a quick Google search and I found this one here, which is pretty cool design. It has quite a number of pieces and parts to it, but I thought it would be a nice little project to show you guys on the channel. Alright, now of course on Google there's so many other beautiful, or what I would consider more stylish designs to choose from or to get inspiration from. Alright, so one of the first things I would suggest that you do is to create a list of all the parts and pieces and the sizes of the lumber that you're going to need to design this project. All right, now of course you would have a sketch or something of what you're looking for already, so put those in place. Of course this would be what my list looks like. So I have posts, and these are going to be 8 by 8 inches. The beams and the rafters will all be the same size, which would be 2 by 8, and then we have these bracings, these diagonal pieces, which would be 2 by 6s, and then we have the top pieces here, which are purlins, which would be 2 by 2 inches. All right, and then I'm going to make it so that my footprint for this design would be 12 by 12 feet, and then I'm going to make it a height of around 9 foot or something like that. We'll work it out as we go along. So let's jump over into AutoCAD quick and fast and let's get rolling on this design. First thing is to check your units, make sure that you're using the correct one. I'm going to be doing inches for this design. Now the second thing is to create your structural members. So all of these parts and pieces will be a structural member. Okay, well, in AutoCAD, we're going to be using the structural member feature. So if you remembered from the custom column design video, I'm going to link that in the description below. You would have seen how the structural member feature works, but this video is going to take it a little bit further because, you know, there's always something new to learn. So if you remember, when we go to our structural, when we go to the style browser here, and we, have this drop down at the top here, you come down, you would realize that we have 3 structural categories here to choose from. Okay, we have beams, braces, and we have columns. So depending on what you're going to be drawing, you would select either or either. All right. Now, with what is already in the library here is nothing that we need for this project. So we're going to have to create those structural members that we want. Now, to make it easier for us, AutoCAD has a catalog that we can pick from. So that's where I'm at here. I'm going to click on members catalog. Let me minimize this for a moment. We do have imperial and metric systems, so depending on what you're doing, choose appropriately. And of course I'm going to go into timbers because this is what I'm focusing on today, but I would implore you guys to go ahead and explore the other options in this catalog. It's quite a bit of stuff in here. All right, and I'm going to go down to lumber and I'm going to choose the rough cut lumbers. And so all you need to do is to go down the list of sizes here and choose the ones that you need. For this project, I'm going to be using the 8 by 8. So I'm going to look for that right here. I'm going to bring it in by right clicking and say generate member style and hit OK. And you're going to pretty much do the same thing for all the other ones. So I'm going to need a 2 by 8. I'm going to need a 2 by 6, And I'm also going to need a 2x2, which I'm not seeing here now, but I'm going to actually create that one manually. Okay, so I'm going to X this off. And what I'm going to do is to draw a box measuring 2x2 inches. So 2x2. All right, so this is my 2x2 inch box here. So I'm going to be converting this to a custom column like we did in the columns video. Pick my center point, and I'm going to call this 2x2r, and the R stands for rough cut. All right, and we're going to erase the geometry. I'm going to hit OK. So this is what that looks like. And so now if we should go to our style browser and look again, now we can see that all of our various sizes are available: 2x2, 2x6, 2x8, and 8x8. Beautiful. So we can delete this, and then we can go ahead and start our design. Now, being that our footprint is going to be a 12x12 feet, let's draw a box measuring 12x12. All right, so this is my 12x12 box. And so all my corner posts are going to be fitting within these corners here. So what I'm going to go to is my style browser, and I'm going to scroll down to columns, because those corner posts would be considered columns, correct? Yes. So click on columns, and we're going to choose the 8x8 option, and we're going to bring it in. So just like that, we can drop it wherever we want. I'm going to make it a 0 rotation, and I'm going to just move it into the corner properly. And the next thing I'm going to do is to mirror this object in all 4 corners. Good. So now I have my 4 posts. What I'm going to also do is to bring up a 2 view here, so I can have a 3D view open as well, so you can see what's happening as we go along. All right, so I'm going to make these posts a little bit shorter than what they are. They come in as a 10 feet. I'm going to drop these down to 8 feet tall. As a matter of fact, let's make it 8 feet 8 inches. And there's a reason for that. You will see in a little bit. But don't worry. Let's work with that for now. And then now we're done with all our columns. So let's move over to beam. So click on the drop down here and move over to beam. And if you notice, as you switch between structural, the different types here, you're getting the same options in here, but the way it is drawn is different. So that's important to take note of. All right. So when you're doing vertical objects, you want to use columns. And when you're going to do horizontal objects, you want to use beams. So that's what's happening here. All right, so we're going to be using the 2x8 option, and we're going to draw a piece from here all the way out. I'm going to make this 16 feet long. If you notice, it's long all the way out, but don't worry, I'm going to move it over to the left 2 feet so that I have a 2 feet overhang on this side and a 2 feet overhang on this side. If you notice as well, it's kind of cutting into the post. So I'm going to move it up 1 inch so that it's flushing right on the post there. The next thing, if you notice over here, is that it is on the ground, which is nuts. So we're going to move him up to an elevation of 8 feet. So this is right where we want it. Now, if you look over here, you notice that we're seeing a line for that. And that's because our cutting plane is cutting below the height of this thing. So if we should raise our cutting plane up to 12 feet, which would be above this here, hit OK. Now we can see it clearly in the plan view. Now, at this point is where I would go ahead and put my little stylish cut on the edge here. Because once I do it to the first one, I can then duplicate or copy this one to create all the others, and all those others would have the same design. All right. Now, you don't have to do it now. You can actually do it after, but this is how I'm going to be doing it in this video. So for this cut, if you notice, I chose a pretty simple edge design, which is just a 45-degree cut on the edge there. You know, you can get as fancy as you would like, but for this video we're going to keep it simple. And to do that, I would just go ahead, select that beam, and we would go to this option here called the trim plane. Okay, and we're going to add two, one at the start, and we're going to make the other one at the end. Okay, for the start we're going to make it 1 inch offset on the x-axis, and for the y rotation we're going to make it negative 45 degrees. So the negative 45 would be converted to 315. It's the same thing. So either way, it's the same difference. For the end, we're going to make it a -1. And we're going to make the rotation of 45 degrees. Now, if you're asking me how I came up with these numbers, it's because I have tested them and I have tried them and they work. So take that for what it is. You can go ahead and mess around with it to get this style, the angle cut and stuff that you need, but this is what I'm going to be working with for this video. All right, so hit OK, and once you do that, you can see that I have that nice little cut on the edge, and that's exactly what we need. So once I have one down, pretty much can go ahead and highlight that one, and I'm going to pretty much mirror this all over the place. So I'm going to mirror it here to get the other one on that side like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing here to get the on the opposite side as well, something like that. And then I need to get 4 more of these running in this direction now. So pretty much what I'm going to do is to highlight these 4 here, and I'm going to go to my rotation, and from the center of the box click, and then go down to your command and click on copy, and then type 90 for the rotation, 90 degrees, hit enter, and there we have it. We have copied those in this direction, but guess what? We need to raise them up a little bit here. So I'm going to raise the elevation to 8 feet, 8 inches, and that would make it so that it sits nicely on top of those ones. So this is exactly what we need. All right, so far so good. Now we're not going to waste any time, so let's move on to the next step, which would be to add our rafters in. So I'm going to go to the front view here. All right, as a matter of fact, let's go to the left view, and I'm going to copy this one here, copy up. I think this would be about 16 inches. Yeah, 16 inches. Yeah, I'm trying to calculate the distance so that it falls directly on top of this. So as you can see here, it's landed exactly on top of that, which is what I actually want. But I think also that if we should look back on the design, these rafters are cutting into the beam about 2 inches in. So I'm gonna actually drop this down. Let's move it back down another 2 inches so that it cuts within. So it looks something like that over here, and that's good. All right, perfect. And then I'm going to pretty much mirror this on the other side. So let's do that, mirror. So you have another one over here, and then in between, I'm going to place about 5 more. So I'm going to just copy this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you notice, I didn't worry about the spacing because I'm going to use the space to the command to space them evenly. But of course, I would expect you guys to calculate how many you would need and the required spacing based on your design, so on and so forth. All right, but you work that out. I'm just going to do this for this. I'm going to say space evenly between the center of that and the center of this. Hold on, let's do that again. Space evenly between here and here. All right, beautiful. So that's what that would do. Now, if you notice here, is that these rafters are pretty much clashing into the beams. And so what we're going to do to rectify that issue is to create an interference. Okay, so we're going to click on these beams here, and we're going to say interference, and we're going to add. And we pretty much want to add all of these rafters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hit enter. And just like that, what happened is now is that the rafters are now cutting into the beams, and so there's no clashing there. All right, it's just what we call an interference. So that's what we want. Looking good so far. The last thing we would need to add would be our purlins, and so I'm going to go back to my top view, and I'm going to go down to style browser, and I'm going to choose beams, go to purlins, and I'm going to say add. And I'm going to draw the first one in the middle here. And I'm going to make this 15 feet in length. And so this is what that looks like. And that looks good. I don't think it is centered. So I'm going to go to my center command and make sure that it is centered within this space here. Now, if you notice here, it is on the floor, and that's not good. So I'm going to raise this up to whatever distance I need to raise it up. Let's go to the front view and see what that looks like. Front. Let's take a measurement from base to the top. So this needs to be raised up 9'4", like that, to sit on top. And then I'm pretty much going to copy this over a couple of times, maybe at a 1 foot spacing here. So I'm going to say 12, 24, 36. I'm going to copy these three here, and I'm going to say 36. And I may copy another one out at the end here, 12. And then I'm going to pretty much mirror all of these to the other side. So this is how fast you can actually move with these design, especially if it is as simple as this one. You know, it's not that difficult when you think about it. So all that is left with this design really would be the bracing, and that is probably the hardest part. So good thing I left that part for last. Now, being that we're on the front view, we should have a bracing running here. And so what I would do at this point is to move my drawing surface to the same what would I call it now, the same plane as the surface of this post. Okay, so if I click over here, if you notice the grid line here, if I should go to view, I click on this drop down here and I say select my face, and I select this the face of this post here. If I select that, if you notice, the grid is now rotated and is resting on the face of that post, and that's exactly what I want to do over here. All right, so I'm going to be doing that on this side here, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to choose a random origin anywhere, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so anything I draw here will be on the same surface as this the face of this post. So that's what that is. And then we're going to go over to style browser, and we're going to go to bracing this time. And I think the brace will be a 2x6. So let's click on that. Now, before we draw the base, what you want to do is to turn off your ortho mode and turn on your angle. Okay, because you want to draw it at a 45-degree angle. That's one. And two, I'm going to turn off the snap mode as well, because when this thing starts to snap to other objects, it kind of behave goofy. So I would turn that off, and I'm going to just draw a piece of bracing right here, something like that. And you could just move it around till you get the desired size and piece that you want. I'm going to lengthen this out a little bit longer, maybe like that, so that it captures the top of there. And I'll probably move this up a little bit like that. All right, because I want it to be trimmed off right here, and I want the top to be trimmed right there. So I kind of just make it so that it is where I want it. And then I don't like that this is in the same color, so I'm going to switch the layer for this. I'm going to change this to probably blue or something. And also I'm going to change this from dash to continuous. Good. So what I'm going to do here now is to make it so that this here, as you can see here, is that the justify is in the middle. That is why you can see that half of it is on this side and half is on the inside. So we're going to switch that justify from middle center to middle right, rather middle left. Yeah, that's what we want. So we want it to flush with the post. And then next thing we're going to do is to select the brace again, and we're going to say add a trim plane, and we're going to select the edge of this post here. So click on it, you see it becomes red. Click, and just like that, that was trimmed off. And then we want to do the same thing up here, but this one is a little bit different. So what we're going to do is to click on the trim again, and this time we're going to hit enter once, and we're going to draw a line from this end to this end, and we're going to click on this side. And just like that, what we did there was to cut this piece of material into the shape that we needed it to be. All right. And then lastly, we need is that little curve, that little circular cut into it. So what I would do here is to pretty much draw a circle. I don't know, whatever size circle you think would fit in here nicely. Maybe something like that. Let's see, something like that. All right, so that looks good right there. I'm going to work with that. And if you notice, that circle was drawn exactly on the face of, on the same plane as the face of this post. What we're going to do here is to extrude this object. So extrude, and we're going to give it a thickness, maybe like 12 inches, something like that. I'm going to isolate these. So this is what we have really. And what we want to do is to select this piece of bracing, and we're going to say body modifier, add, and we want to add this object in, hit enter, and we want to say operation subtractive erase. Okay. Boom. Just like that. And guess what, guys? If you don't like the position of the circle, we can always go back in and say edit in place, and we can move this circle around. You know, maybe I want it up here or down here, anywhere. All right. And you can pretty much do what you want and just hit finish, and it would update on that piece of material. And then I'm going to unisolate. And so I have my first bracing there. And so what all I need to do is pretty much copy this guy, or mirror on this side here. All right, and then also I'm going to be mirroring those to the other side. Let me go back to my top view. So here they are, this piece and this piece. I'm going to mirror them on the other side like this. So as you can see here, it's all the way over there. Beautiful. And then I would pretty much select all of these again, and I would copy, or rather rotate from the dead center here, and I would do a copy, and I would type 90 degrees, and that would give me the other 4 on the other 4 corners. The only thing is that with these ones on these corners, I would need to raise these up 8 inches into the air. So raise those up so that these ones can flush with the top of the beam there. All right, so this is what this would look like at the end of this project. So of course we could go ahead and add, you know, the base caps to it, you know, like this little thing here. You can model that in if you want. All right, everybody, so that's where I'm going to end this video for today. I know you're interested in seeing the parts list or the cut list of all the materials used in this project and how I would go about doing that, but the video was getting too long, so I decided to chop it in 2, and so you're going to see that video right here when the time comes. All right. In the meantime, though, I have another time-lapse video of a similar project to this one that I did in AutoCAD Architecture. So check that out right here. All right. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and drop a comment, because I know you have questions. And don't forget to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. You don't know the tingo. Big up to all the patrons on my Patreon page. The link is in the description. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you in the next video.